where our mission is to enlighten, educate, equip, empower, and employ women of the 21st century to be all God has called them to be. And the reason I'm so excited about today's guest is because she is living that life, where truly she has modeled how to be a successful wife, a successful mom, a successful business person, and just truly is committed to helping people achieve not just, I know that we put a health coach, but really wholeness in life. And so welcome, Dee. I'm so glad that you're here. And so I wanted to allow you to start by sharing a little bit about yourself first and let the audience get to know you, and then we'll let you share your story and part of why you're here and your passion. So go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks, Denise. Thanks for having me. I mean, when we first met and you shared with me this idea and this mission and what you're doing, I felt like we were so much in alignment. So my name is Dee Korchan, and I am a wife to Larry for 30 years. We just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary. I'm a mom to 2 boys. They are men, actually.
Yes,
I have Alex, who is 25, and our son Spencer, who is 23.
Okay.
So they are both grown, educated, employed, and out of the household. So we feel like we've done we did it. So we're very proud of both of them. And then also a business owner, own a national health and wellness coaching practice, and that is really where my heart is, and I really feel like it is something that God has called not only me, my husband also left his corporate career, and he's my business partner, to really be available to be able to help people be the best version of themselves and who they can be.
And this isn't new for you. You have been interested in health and wellness for a long time. I was reading kind of like your bio, and you mentioned you started in insurance, and then I know just by our conversations you had a jazzercise, and so this isn't like a new thing for you. How did that passion get initiated for you?
I love the way that God works in our lives, and a lot of times you don't see it coming, but you see the pieces. When you look back, you see the pieces fell into place. So, I came out of college in my 20s and did the typical thing of going into the corporate world, and had an incredible career and learned so much during that time period. And at one point was even a corporate trainer, so I realized the value and the skills, and develop the skills of speaking and connecting with people and helping to move them forward. And but then we had our boys, and I wanted to be home with them, so I spent about 7 years home with them during their critical years. But I had a passion for exercise, for fitness, and so kind of being the person that I was, it wasn't enough for me to just be a participant. I decided to step up front and teach. And so I was actually a fitness instructor for 20 years.
Wow.
And I loved that. But as the boys got older, and then I started looking at my future, was going to have more time on my hands. We wanted something, knew we wanted to be business owners, knew I wanted something that would really make a difference in the world, make impact, but also be less taxing on me. Doing the physical work of teaching fitness and dance fitness was physically challenging, but was also limiting in my time, limiting in my income. So I found health coaching, through God. A friend of ours we were in a married couples small group through our church. A friend of ours is a physician. He learned about this concept of health coaching and the specific health program that we coach. And he said, Dee, I think this is right up your alley. I mean, it just seems. So, I looked at it, and, what a coach does and what this particular program does is we coach individuals through a specific health program, something that's been clinically proven, developed, and then we just have to learn how to do it, and then use our hearts to connect with people and move them through a proven process. And I thought, this is it. Like, this is the missing link for a lot of different reasons. So I'll share more about that.
And when did you start this particular?
So I just celebrated 8 years of health coaching in April of this year. And over those 8 years have really grown it to the point that we have partnered with, we have about 250 health coaches across the U.S. that we've trained, that do what we do. And then collectively we've helped almost 5,000 people to better health.
That's amazing. And I think that that's the important thing, because when we were talking, and even in the passion of PV31, it's important for me to see women come to wholeness. And so health and wellness is a huge piece of that, because you can't do the other things you're supposed to do effectively if that piece isn't in place. And so many times we concentrate on the mom part, and I feel like as women especially, there's so much outward focus that sometimes we forget about us. And so I think that this is a strategic piece of that puzzle that gives people an opportunity to figure out how to fit that in, that helps them be better. It's kind of like put your mask on and then help the person next to you. So we have to understand that this is such a critical piece, and that's why I was so excited about having you, because it's not been one that I've had a lot of experience, and so it's like, you know, you're trying to find those partners, and so I'm so thrilled that you're here. Okay, so you got introduced to the health and wellness world. You came that through the insurance process, and it says, now why do you have such a passion for it?
Well, I love that you get it. Like what you said is the fundamental. So often especially with our physical health, we tend to put that aside. We think, well, I'll get to that when things settle down, when it's not so busy, when it's not summer. Like we know it's there. The tape is playing. School's over. Right. The tape is playing, but we can't seem to get there. Or what I'm finding more often is that we've tried. We've tried to do it on our own. We've tried and we failed, and it's hard. And so then it becomes difficult. Like, is it even possible for me? Depending on where we are with our health. But being healthy and then running this business, etc., like, it has allowed me to be the best version of myself. Like when I am able to clean up the garbage in my life and the self-limiting beliefs and the concepts that I have about myself, then we're better to show up for other people. And so that is where my heart is because we're not talking about numbers on the scale. Right. Like, we're talking about the freedom that it provides for us when we can start unlocking the self-limiting beliefs, the shackles, the shame. Then we show up better, right? We have the energy, the heart, the passion to serve our family, to be the best wife that we can be, to show up better at work, more productive at work. And it's like, so it's just the very tip of the iceberg. And I think that is what God has called us to do. You know, there's scripture that talks about our body and using it as a temple. And this is not about getting healthy because scripture commands us to. It's because God knows what's best for us. And God knows that when we're in our best physical health, we're then best to be able to show up in the world.
That's right. No, it's true. And you've seen, I think about what you said if you've been in that cycle, and there's almost like a helplessness and a hopelessness that starts to take over to go, why bother? You know, I'm just tired, which is a negative domino effect into depression, into, like you said, all those self-limiting beliefs. And so that's why I wanted to make sure that, you know, just having had conversations with you, people recognize that yes, your health is going to be affected. And yes, you may see weight loss, and yes, you may look better, but it's not only about that. Like, that's kind of like the fruit of it.
Like the side effect.
It's like this precedes that, and so in that, it's what allows the maintaining. You know, I love the coaching concept, because you think about, you know, any athlete, I mean, even at the highest level, they have a coach, you know, and in so many arenas we see that, but it's going, okay, but how about that kind of health life coach? Like, who helps us in those other critical areas? Seems like we'll focus on the talent, or we'll focus on one little piece, but it's going, okay, but overall, and even in our conversations and some of the questions that you ask that are very self-examining, and they cause you to kind of challenge your thinking, it really kind of opens you up to go, that even though that's probably been my normal, that doesn't make it right, it doesn't make it true, it doesn't make it, and so it becomes self-defeating. And as you're asking those questions, and then you walk people through a process versus one overhaul. I think we get into a mindset in the day and age that we live in of quick fix. It's not a drive-through, it is a process, it's going to be ongoing, and I think that's where the coach comes in. It brings the accountability when it's like, that was hard and I don't want it. It's going, but you got it, you're going to do it, you know, and that's where I see you as such a valuable asset and resource.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so what are some notable testimonies? Because the first time I met you, I remember you gave a testimony about a woman who had been in the program for so many months, and exactly what I just said. She had felt so helpless and so lost and so hopeless. And so I know you probably have a million, but what are some notable ones that you can?
It was really hard to narrow it down. I brought 3 different examples, and I'll keep them short. And I think this is the one that I was referring to when you saw it. I'm going to hold it up to see if we can see it. But this is my friend Carol, and there's about 20 years difference in this picture with her. I hear so often, especially from women, might even my age generation, they'll say, I don't want to get too thin, I'm so worried about looking older. But I just want you to see how much younger she looks. But this is just an outward representation of what's happened in her life. Carol and I started working together. She had struggled with her weight all her life. And when somebody who struggles with their weight, it had a ripple effect that then it affected her self-confidence.
Yes.
It affected her desire to want to show up in the world, to be a part of community, to be a part of groups.
Yes.
And then the less you are a part of that, the more you withdraw.
Isolate.
And then you become lonely.
That's right.
And then you're living this world thinking that everybody else has got it going on but you, and you're over here, which can continue to, no pun intended, feed the problem, And so when I met Carol, she almost didn't want to move forward. She was almost to the point of like helplessness, of had tried so many different things. And we started working together in conjunction, in partnership. She's, got on a better path with her nutrition. But the other big component of what I offer is not only education, but community.
Right.
And so we have a community of people that are all on the same journey.
Yeah.
And when you get into community, like I said, I think that we tend to think that the world knows what they're doing and we're the odd one. But the reality is we're all broken individuals.
Yes.
And when you get into a community of people that we're all trying to do our best. We're all trying to make change. We're all juggling life. Yeah. You realize wow, I can do this and I'm not alone. So she has turned into this vibrant,
it's amazing,
healthy person because of the community, the friendships, and the empowerment she now feels.
And I do think that the enemy makes us feel like you're the only one that's ever felt that way. You're never going to do, and when you get around other people, even this morning we were talking to somebody and it was like, it's a difference between isolation and insulation. And it really does create that. In that community, it's like this, I'm not alone and you can do it. And if you've ever been on a run or in any kind of event, and there's those other people around you, there's just an energy that you pull from that to go, okay, and you may not even know them. It's like, you got this, you're like, okay. And this creates that opportunity.
100%.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's 100% what it's all about. Another quick one to show is my friend Allison. And Allison I met actually through the fitness industry, and this is when you asked about where's my passion, when I taught in the fitness world and exercise, that's so often where people put their energy and their efforts. They think, well, I just do this in the gym, right? But that's one habit of health. Right. There's nutrition, there's hydration, there's stress, and all of that play into it. So when I was in the fitness world and had this one little hour with a whole group of people, right? But when I can come alongside somebody now and work with them with all these habits of health, but she actually had like a self-limiting belief. She kind of thought she gained and lost the same 20 to 30 pounds over and over again, getting to a level thinking mentally that's as low as she could go, even though that wasn't her healthy place, etc. So together we were able, that's what working with a coach does, is that through questioning and, like you said, self-examination, why do we think that? What's behind that? She's been able to break through that. Yeah. She's broken through that. I mean, like way down below that. So she's down about 30 pounds, what she ever thought her limiting belief was. But what's really fun is that she is actually now coaching like I do, this is another aspect of what we haven't really talked about, is what I can help women and men, but help people then get into this meaning and purpose and this joy of taking your struggle, what you've had pain with. Not everybody chooses to, but she has. It's provided finances now. She can help her kids through their more options for college, and it's helped in her personal relationships as well. So it's true transformation. True transformation.
It's awesome.
And then the last I brought is actually a picture of a male, but I brought him. This is Phil, but Phil is a pastor.
Is that right?
And Phil is a pastor. He is holding bags of sugar that represent 10 pounds bags of sugar that represent the amount of weight he's lost so far. So he has 6 10-pound bags of sugar.
Oh my gosh.
And we do that sometimes so that people can carry that and feel what it carried. But he is a pastor, and he had struggled, and so he is now losing weight, but he himself now is a walking testimony for his congregation, the people that he interacts with to show the possibility that change is possible.
Right.
And so men, women, etc. in his congregation now have a walking testimony to
see.
Yeah,
and not just
possible.
the physical weight, but the emotional.
Yes.
And I can't even imagine what that must feel like for him to do that. So one of the things that I like what you said, and I want to make sure that we target it, is it's multifaceted. It's like, here's the whole puzzle, but there's pieces. So will you just kind of reiterate that again, where you said nutrition and all those? Because I think it's important that people recognize it's not just exercise until you collapse. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not just starve yourself. It's the combination. So what are some of the pieces of the puzzle that you help them with?
Yeah, I think it's important to talk about that. So there's really 4 things. People always ask me, like, Dee, what's different? Or they want to know just about the eating plan. You know, let me decide if I want to eat that eating plan.
Right.
But that's only one small piece,
right.
Really the whole picture. So what we do when an individual is interested in moving forward, the way it looks like is this, that there's that personal health coach. So you and I gave you an example of what it looks like when we walk through a process of actually helping somebody dream again.
Yeah.
This is not about fixing a problem on the scale.
Right.
That'll happen.
Yes.
But it's only going to happen when we really know what it is we're looking to create.
That's good.
And so we get people to get the wheels turning, and very often people have never thought about these things. They haven't thought. And so that's a really, really, I get goosebumps thinking about it. It's just a powerful process to walk through with somebody. So we're ready to move forward. So now I've got this personal relationship with somebody. I know what they want. I know what their dreams are. And so when they get going on it, and maybe they get tripped up, or maybe we start to forget, or life gets hard, I'm there not only to help celebrate them, but to help them learn and move and keep picking. That's what life is, right? You fall down, you pick up. You fall down, you pick up. You learn from it. So there's that coaching. But then we are about all the habits of health.
Right.
And so we provide behavioral and lifestyle education and movement in the direction of hydration, sleep, stress management, exercise. And exercise might just mean moving more steps every day. It doesn't mean you're going and pumping iron. Right? Like if you think about our ancestors years ago or biblical times, they weren't going to the gym.
No.
They were just active, harvesting, working, you know? So we're just getting back to that, right? And making that more a part of our life. But a big piece of it is we look at other aspects of their life, like their career, their family life. Like if somebody is overweight or struggling or doesn't have a lot of energy or dragging, it's usually because there's something else that's playing into the equation that we're going to look at as well. And then there's that community aspect, which is huge. We do a lot of that through social media, private Facebook group. I've got over 2,000 people in there. But all of it, you put all the pieces, and then we've got this incredible eating plan. An eating plan that has individuals eating every 2 to 3 hours, a good balance of carbs and protein. Their energy soars, their hunger and cravings go down. They see the scale go down. So now we've got all these things moving together.
Like
they become these people. So thank you for asking for that, because it's a journey, it's a process. But it's actually, sometimes people think change is hard, and it is hard. But we actually make that process actually fun and possible, and people see change.
And manageable.
Yeah. We celebrate the small victories. The fact that you didn't have to use the seatbelt extender, or you took the stairs at work and you weren't tired. Like all of those things, we call them non-scale victories, are a huge part of the process.
That's awesome. I like that. Non-scale victories.
Yeah.
We all need non-scale victories. Okay. If you could say something to those that are watching across the table, how would you encourage them?
I think that the biggest message is that there is hope, that there is possibility, and that it's possible for you. And it starts with a decision that, you know what, let me explore this, let me find out, but change happens. I mean, we've got examples, thousands of people, and of change. And when we make that one decision to make change, you never know what is going to unfold. So your life might be good right now, but what if great is right around the corner?
That's
right?
Yeah.
Like, we never know what God has in store for us. And most often we are the one that's in the way. And what if we could put that aside just for a minute and have a conversation and see what's possible? How would that affect us? How would that affect our relationships? How would that affect how you show up for your family, and how you can start to really make a difference in the world?
That's awesome. So really quick, I would like you to give an example or a few examples of some questions that you would help people. I'm trying to like get them triggered so that it's going, wow, I like give them a sample. So what are a few of the questions that you feel like are super impactful at the beginning? Because I know that there's a whole list, but I just feel like if we can get them to get you a few, and then we'll get them in touch with you, make sure that they know how to get in touch with you. But what are a couple of the questions that you feel like are pretty challenging for people that help them to start to go through that self-awareness process?
Well, you know what, there's the first thing is personal conversation. So if anybody ever has interest in it, we take it to the phone, right? Because or a video conference, but text and email et cetera. That's I think human connection.
Yes.
It's like a lost art, right?
Yes.
Like human communication.
It's true.
So because I want to be able to listen, I want to hear. Sometimes I hear what's between the words.
Yeah.
What's not said.
Yeah.
And so it'll really start out is just tell me why we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Where are you in your health right now, and where would you like to be?
Yeah.
And why is that important to you?
Yeah.
And what would change in your life if we could make that a reality for you?
Yeah.
How would that change in your life?
Yeah.
How would that affect the activities you do?
Yeah. Or not doing.
How would that affect how you show up as a mom? How you show up as a wife?
Right.
For most of us, and I'll just be honest with women, so often it's our self-confidence and our self-esteem.
Yeah.
And this is not from a vanity perspective. We're putting, like you called it, a veil, a mask over ourselves, and we're not showing up.
Right.
But what would life be like if you didn't have to wear that mask?
Yeah.
If you didn't have that shame?
Yeah.
And so those are the questions that we start to dig a little deeper to get through.
And I think that that's important for anybody that's watching is, ask that question. What would it look like if you dreamed and if that wasn't the line in the sand, like a wave could come up and wash it away, what would it look like? If you could be a present mom, if you could be a present wife, because there's not all the clutter and all the mess and all the shame, like you said. So those are great questions. Now I know that she's got a bunch more, so you want to have that call. But so let's help them understand how they can get in touch with you, follow you, so that if they wanted to engage, we could make that happen.
Yeah, thank you. And I know that you'll share this like in the comments or whatever. But really the best thing, and I invite you to do, is to connect with me on social media, on Facebook. I run everything off my personal page because who I am as a mom and a business owner or whatever, it's all integrated into my personal life. And so what I share on my personal page is inspiration, health tips, recipes, inspirational stories. So you can connect with me as a friend, or you can connect with me and follow me.
Yeah.
The other would be private message me or email me or text me. You're going to provide my phone number and email. I'm happy to put you on my weekly newsletter.
Right, which is awesome. It's beautiful. It's so well done.
It comes by email. It's same thing. Health tips, healthy recipes, etc. And if you're really would invite for a personal conversation. I am about connecting with people that are ready to connect and make change. And right now, you might not know if you were that person or not. So let's just talk about it.
Right.
So the conversation is complimentary, and we just explore it. You tell me about you, I'll tell you about me, and together we'll decide if it's a good fit. Right. So just reaching out, asking for that personal connection, that personal conversation would be the best, the most honor that I could have to possibly help somebody.
Good. Yeah, it's interesting, like when she said that sometimes it's the things that you don't say when you're having that conversation with her. You want to be absolutely transparent because it doesn't help you to identify where you're starting from if you're not honest. You can't get directions from here to there if you're not actually here when you're starting. And so, some of those, it's the inflection. I think it's as you're having that thought and that realization, it's just the transparency to be honest with where you are in your walk and in your life. And recognize, what, this might be the resource that God connected me. When you're crying out going, God, I don't know what to do, like, God gives us like those coaches and those mentors and those people. And even though, in the modern day and age, it's called like a coach, a health coach. But when you look in Titus 2, it says like older women teach the younger women. And it doesn't mean older age. It means older, more experience. Like take what we have and pour in. And so I know that this impacts men and women, but particularly for PV31, the 21, it's to recognize that this is an opportunity to let somebody pour into your life in these particular areas. So before we go, I'd love it if you would close in prayer for us, and then I'll just say bye and we'll head out. So if you would just pray.
Oh, absolutely. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for Denise and what she's doing through this ministry, and thank you for our connection. We know that there's that you were always at work, and there was a reason why the two of us met, why this event is happening. If it touches one person, that means the world. We know that you are in our lives, that you are working through us, and that you are connecting us to those that you want to help move forward. So we trust in you, and we trust in all that you provide. So grateful for you and what you've done for us through your Son, and we pray all of this in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. So we are going to I'll have all the contact information. This video is obviously playing live, but we'll repost it, and I'll make sure that you have the link. And she's going to actually share it on her page. It will also be posted on YouTube. If you haven't seen the PV31inthe21 YouTube channel, if you like this, you're going to love that, because it's just more of the same in different components, different compartments, because we are multi-complex. That's what women are. We wear a lot of hats. But this is really directed for you. And so I would just encourage you to help me by liking and sharing, because truthfully how we do this is we reach across the table, but you help us reach around the world, one like and one share at a time. So thanks for making the time, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Dee.